And I don't want to just talk about fixing things. I actually have fixed things. I have fixed things. It's one thing to know what's the right thing to do. It's another thing to actually do it.
You've never held elected office. What would you say to voters who believe that experience is vital to the job of a U.S. Senator?
I would say I agree. The problem is we need diversity in experience. It's not good enough to have a Congress filled with career politicians who only can see the world through one lens because that's the lens they all share.
I thought Kerri Harris won this debate. I frankly thought she did much better than I expected that she was going to do going into it. She's not a politician. She's an organizer. Spent 8 years in the Air Force. She's not a public speaker. She's not one of those organizers that goes out and does a lot of speaking on the circuit like a Van Jones used to. She's somebody who's more in the trenches, and so this is not her natural environment.
Do you know what economists agree on? If we eliminate and bail out the debt of our college students, it will spur our economy. Because those students, when they graduate, will put the money back into the economy. They won't buy up stocks and shares so that they can increase their bottom lines. They're going to buy houses and cars and products that we need to move ourselves forward. If you want to increase not just the futures of our students, but grow our economy, I say eliminate all student debt and start fresh.
Senator Carper.
I don't have a magic wand that would enable us to do that. It would cost a pretty penny. And let me just tell you what we've already done to try to make college education affordable for more people. Pell Grants. I've voted repeatedly again and again and again to increase Pell Grants for lower income families, lower income students.
I would like to respond. I appreciate, again, all of the things you have done. My concern is when we talk about not having a magic wand, we found a way, again, to bail out the banks that were too big to fail, but nothing's bigger to fail than our students, than our future.
And so this is in many ways a debate that you see play out on Twitter all the time. But now you're seeing it up on a Senate Democratic primary stage. Somebody throwing down the gauntlet on an aggressively progressive position. Just cancel all the student debt, start fresh, give the students a chance to actually put their money into themselves so that they can grow, and also into the economy so the economy grows. The response, that would cost a pretty penny. We can't wave a magic wand. And Kerri Harris's point, actually we can wave a magic wand because we have done it over and over and over again. A lot of times that rebuttal is dismissed as not serious, but it is. What she is doing is presenting case studies of when the federal government has spent deficit money in order, for a project that it wanted to fund, and it did not destroy the economy to do so. It did not spike hyperinflation. We're not walking around with wheelbarrows full of cash to pay for bread because we spent $4 trillion in Iraq. Now, it's terrible that we spent $4 trillion in Iraq for moral reasons, but it's not actually terrible for fiscal reasons. That we have our own currency here in the United States, and as long as we have the resources that are underutilized, we can print money and put those resources to work. Now, there has been a study of what the macroeconomic effects would be of canceling all the student debt. So it's not like this policy that Harris is putting out there was just something that she came up with in the green room before the debate and came out. And that's what's so important about building this progressive infrastructure. The study was at the Levy Institute. The authors find that cancellation would have a meaningful stimulus effect characterized by greater economic activity as measured by GDP and employment, with only moderate effects on the federal budget deficit, interest rates, and inflation, while state budgets improve. These results suggest that policies like student debt cancellation can be a viable part of a needed reorientation of U.S. higher education policy. Because of the stimulating effect of canceling the debt, you'd have economic growth, which would yield more tax revenue, that tax revenue would kick particularly to the states, but also to the federal government, which would mean that you would have no meaningful impact on inflation and interest rates, which are the key questions that you have to look at when you're in a post-gold currency system. The question is not what is the deficit, what is the debt. The question is the currency getting out of control? Are you seeing significant inflation that's eroding people's wealth and quality of life? And if you're not, then that means you have a lot more headroom of ability to put capital out into the economy. You could call that a magic wand. In fact, modern monetary theory is sometimes jokingly referred to as magic money tree. Is it magic? What you have done is you have decoupled your currency from the gold reserve, and everybody has just placed their faith in the currency that is what it's worth. Call that magic, call that whatever you want. That's what currency is now. So the federal government absolutely, according to this macroeconomic model, could go in with its magic wand and wipe away this $1.5 trillion in debt. Real quickly, the reason it wasn't on television, Delaware is not a television market. There is no TV market for Delaware. It's Philadelphia. And the Philadelphia television stations do not give a damn about Tom Carper or any other Delaware Senate or Delaware politician for the most part. And so Kerri Harris's ability to break through and get to voters relies on her kind of grassroots army at this point, because she's not going to have the money to pay for Philadelphia television ads. She's not going to have the money to hit mailers and otherwise pump the hundreds of thousands of dollars into a campaign that some need. And this debate will not have been seen by the 700,000 people in Delaware. Now, he's blanketing the state. He's going with a very just billboards everywhere, up on TV, YouTube ads. Everywhere you look, there's Carper. On the other hand, it's going to be a very low turnout affair, and if by word of mouth and by dint of the grassroots activity, text messaging, phone banking, door knocking, her volunteers, both locally and nationally, can get the word out to those people, then the poll shows that she does actually have a path to victory. And it shows how fragile and brittle the Democratic establishment is. This is a door that you knock on it and it comes off at the hinges. Like with Joe Crowley getting beaten by what everybody keeps calling a 28-year-old bartender spending a couple $100,000. Kerri Harris, a 38-year-old auto mechanic. And she may come up short. She may not have that last little bit of time that she needs to get to every voter. But the fact that she's even on this stage and threatening him and making him sweat like this shows how brittle this Democratic establishment is.